Hey guys, and welcome to Devotional Wednesday. Today we are going to talk about God Sees Me. This is coming from Genesis 16:5 through 13. It says, "You are the God who sees me." Now we are going to Genesis chapter 16 and start at verse 5 through and read all the way through 13. And Sarah said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and thee. Verse 6 says, But Abram said unto Sarah, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarah dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. Verse 7 says, And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, but by the fountain in the way to Shur. And she said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence camest thou, and whither wilt thou go? She said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarah. Verse 9 says, And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. Verse 11 says, And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. 12 says, And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And the final verse says, And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Okay, now we're going to start on the devotion part of it. Now then, it says, When Son's husband had a stroke, her life took a dramatic turn. She found herself having to assist her husband with the activities of daily living and cope with his emotional outbursts. For 17 years, she'd faithfully cared for her husband. When the fall hastened his decline, however, the weight of caregiving finally became too much, and Son sank into depression. I felt I'd lost my faith, she shared, and I couldn't see God. But looking back, Son now believes that God saw her because he provided subsidized home medical and nursing care to manage her husband's chronic condition and sent social workers to support Son in managing the emotional challenges of caregiving. God revealed himself as the God who sees in the story of Hagar in Genesis 16. The slave Hagar was running away from her mistress' mistreatment. Verse 6. When the angel of the Lord found her near the spring in the desert, verse 7, he urged Hagar to go back to her mistress. Verse 9, and assured her of his blessings. Even though Hagar was a nobody in her culture, God was watching out for her well-being. In gratitude, Hagar declared, You are the God who sees me, verse 13. God sees us in our distress too. We're never alone because our loving Father knows our situation and He's trustworthy. We can cry out to Him for help and He'll lift us up. And now, the first question says, how have you experienced that God sees and knows your needs in the past? Now, for me, this one holds a deep spot because there has been multiple um reasons. Growing up, like I stated in, I think it was last week's um devotion is what I'm trying to say. My daddy had been sick for almost 10 years, bedridden, had triple bypass in 2003 to 2005. He was really sick. And we had hospice come in and do everything they had to do for him. And they gave him less than 6 months to live. And they didn't look for him to live past 2010. Well, in 2011, when Mother got really down bad mentally, um, he hasn't, at that point, hasn't driven in a good long time. I want to say it was about 10 years, close to it. And he got up and he started driving because he had to take care of me because I was little. I was a little girl. So I couldn't drive. I couldn't take care of him. Mama was in the hospital. And Daddy was just basically a walking miracle because Mama had to wait on him hand and foot. That's when I learned to be a caregiver at like 5 years old. And I would help Daddy by like making his pill bottle calendar thing, pill box, whatever it's called. Mama showed me how to do it, and then Daddy showed me how to do it. So I learned from there. So I got to where I was his caregiver until he started getting a little bit better. Well, then years later, he passed away May 3rd, 2018, and then Mother got bad off. And it got to the point where I was trying to take care of her and then take care of my boyfriend who also needed help with some things. He wasn't as bad off. He was an older man like Frankie is, but that really don't matter. But he he got really bad sick too. So I was his caregiver. I was Mama's caregiver. And if you've ever tried to take care of two people at the same time, God bless you, because that was rough on me because I was having to work, having to take care of them. Then I quit working so I could take care of both of them. And then Mother wanted to go to where her biological daughter worked at the time. And then that just turned into a whole family riot because I wasn't going to sell the house. So I was struggling with all that because at the same time Mother wanted to go up to where her biological daughter lived. My boyfriend at the time, who also passed away in November 12th of 22, he was having triple bypass surgery. And then he started getting really bad sick. So that went on for 2 years with him just decreasing slowly. And he started getting better in 21, and then that's when he went south even more. And then September of 22, before he passed away and before Mother passed away, Mother got really down bad. So I was struggling, didn't have a car, didn't have power, didn't have water, didn't have nothing to live for, if we're going to be completely honest. And I just felt like giving up. So, um, that just made things a lot worse. Well, moving forward, I was living back and forth with people. I think after mother passed away, I was living in my boyfriend's house at the time. Well, then I moved in with his oldest daughter. Left her house, went with a work friend, lived with her for a while, lived with my mama's boss, um, who was good friends with her. And then I ended up living in a car from Christmas Day of 24 all the way till March 3rd. And that's when I met my fiance. So, looking back on it now, looking at everything I've got now, I am a country gospel singer songwriter. I go to college again, um, getting my bachelor's degree in music production. Working on my very first book, which is going to be one of my very first poetry books that I'm writing. Well, I've written it, but I'm going to get it published soon. I'm not sure when, because 23 days from now I'll be becoming Miss Bishop. I like that name. I'm sorry. But looking on it now, I've come a long way and God has done nothing but bless me when I thought, truthfully, I didn't think I could keep going. Um I had suicidal thoughts. I used to cut myself. I used to do everything. And I didn't cut myself because I wanted to die, but still it was just one of those moments where it got so bad that I didn't even think I would make it. And it just became unbearable. And I prayed to God, I was like, Lord, if you please help me, because I had to stop working last year and I did not want to do that. But I got to my health. I needed to put myself first, which is something I was not good at doing. So God just pretty much sat me down. He said, look, your situation's about to change, but you just, you have to have faith in me. So I was, okay. So, anyway, I was struggling really bad when I met Frankie. And people know him as Johnny, but to me, he's Frankie because his family nickname. Um, but to me, he's been my biggest blessing. Him and his brother has been my top biggest blessings because without them, I would still be in that same darkness. I'd still be in that same deep well I couldn't get out of. And I made 3 goals. I have, I believe I've discussed this part before. I have 3 main goals I set in 2023 when my mother passed away. It was to get a car, get a house, get a job. So I got the job, I got the car, but I wanted my own house. I wanted my own place to call my own. Well, thankfully, Frankie took me in under his wing, and I was like, well, people proven, to me that they get tired of me easily, or they'll get tired of me, and it just be whatever. That's fine. And because a lot of people don't understand. I mean, you can have depression and you can have mental illnesses and you can have stuff like that. But you can claim you have that, but if you don't genuinely know the depths of one's problems. I mean, they could talk to you all day about it, they can discuss things with you, but you will not genuinely understand firsthand about a person that struggles with stuff like that because, nobody is number one, nobody's better than nobody else. And number two, you can't go through life and think, okay, well, my problems is a lot worse. Like, yes, everybody's problem is a different set of trouble. But, I mean, mine ain't no worse than yours ain't no worse than mine. But it's also one of those things where you got to sit down and look at that person's point of view too. Because really, there ain't no such thing as, you know, somebody's problems is a lot worse than yours. There's no such thing as that. Everybody's got their own problems and they deal with them their way, but sometimes it gets hard to carry those burdens because when I was younger and when I was living with people, I had a hard time. Like, if I felt like you didn't want me around, I just wouldn't do nothing. I didn't feel like anything I done was good for anybody, so I didn't do it. And that's why I left from house to house because they're like, oh, well, you don't clean up your mess. Okay, I cleaned up my mess, but, you know, I didn't do it in your perspective because you want to be Little Miss Perfect or Little Mr. Perfect or whatever the case might have been. And, you know, it got to the point where it was a struggle for me to get out. It was a struggle for me. All I could do was go to work and lay down. Like, that was the only two things. I didn't eat like I should have. I didn't take care of myself like I should have. It was constantly work, constantly go, constantly work, constantly go. And it was just a back and forth thing. And now it's like I'm where I'm wanted and I don't feel like a burden to nobody. So, I'm cleaning up the house and I'm um doing stuff for, him and he does stuff for me. It's like vice versa thing. And it's a big difference from what I'm used to. And it takes a lot because even he'll tell anybody, you know, I'm trying to learn what to do and what not to do for you. Like, stuff triggers me and it triggers me bad. So if you say anything to me that triggers me, I'll shut down. Now, I'll get mad, but I'll shut down too. And that's, to me, I've come a long way from that because my poetry has helped. Because I was looking back through my poetry book, which is this little book right here. It says creative never goes out of style, which is like a Taylor Swift thing. I didn't notice that till somebody pointed that out because that's like, I don't know. But anyway, at the same time though, looking back on those poems, because these poems here nobody's ever read. And I say nobody's ever read. I think I might have shared two out of here. I mean, I still have that much paper left, but um I've got like maybe not quite 13. I don't think I have any more than 10. I might be wrong. Poems in the book right now. Some of them have titles, some of them haven't been finished, but they have titles. Some of them are finished, but point is, God has blessed me personally tremendously, so much that, you know, looking on it now, I'm thankful for everything he's done for me and everything he's doing for me. The second question is, how can this knowledge help you in your present trials? And that's a good question too, because nobody can't tell me God ain't real. You can argue with me all day. I wish somebody would. But truthfully, the knowledge I have, and I've had people tell me this too, and I'm not bragging by no means, because it's a blessing and a curse, if we're gonna be honest. But the knowledge that I do have is like of an 80-year-old. And I'm only 28, but I've been through stuff in life that, especially my younger years growing up, because I had to be an adult before I even was an adult. And it just, it was hard on me, kind of living a double life. You trying to manage on being a kid, but, you're watching your daddy die and you're watching your mama go, um, I'm not going to say crazy, but there are times she actually went psychotic. I mean, it's not funny, because she needed the help that doctors wouldn't give her. And then when they did give her the help, they just gave her medicine after medicine, but nobody ever dealt down to say, okay, well, you've got this kind of mental illness, what can you do to, you know, make it more normal? Like for me, I mean, um, I've noticed I have bipolar spells, I have depression, I have anxiety, I have all this, but I'm using that as my power, and it fuels my creativity. And like, I was thinking back on it today, like reading my poems, that I'm a mixture of Edgar Allan Poe and Emily Dickinson. And, looking on that, it's like, you know, those are dark creators, in poems. And that's what I get my enjoyment out of, because I'm able to put the way I feel on a piece of paper or in my music. And it's like, okay, well, this may not be, um, this may not be like for everybody, but it's helping me. And if it's helping me, there might be somebody else going through the same thing or feeling the same thing, and it helps them. And that's kind of how I use my knowledge for stuff in my future, because my as this question says, in your present trials. And it means so much to me to be able to talk about it, and it helps me a lot to be able to talk about it. But we're going to end this here with this prayer. It says, Dear Father, thank you for assuring me that you see what I'm going through. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And like I said, we're going to end this here, and I will see y'all next video. Bye.